This is the most twisted cold case I ever seen in my life. It's the real life The Saw movie. On August 28, 2003, a pizza delivery man walked into a bank with the bomb locked around his neck. Minutes later, that bomb exploded on live TV, killing him. This was not a movie, alright? This was the real story of Brian Wells. Brian Wells was 46 years old. He lives in Erie, Pennsylvania. And he worked for Mamma Mia Pizzeria for over 10 years. He lived in quiet life, no criminal records, no major red flags. But on August 28, he got a call to deliver 2 pizzas to an unknown address on the outskirts of town. A TV transmission tower at 8631 Peach Street. That was the last normal delivery he would ever make. Minutes later at 2:28 p.m., he was holding a modified cane that turns out to be a shotgun and wearing a white t-shirt over a locked metal collar device around his neck. Brian Wells then handed a note to the teller demanding 250k American dollars. The teller was unable to access that amount, so he gave him only $8,702. Brian then left the bank and got back into his car but was quickly intercepted by police at a nearby parking lot. Brian told the police that the bomb was real and that he had been forced to rob the bank by someone who had locked it on him. At 3:18 p.m, the bomb began beeping, and at 3:18:57 seconds, the bomb exploded. Brian Wells was dead. After the bomb exploded, the police immediately investigate Brian's car. Inside Brian's car was a series of papers containing 9 pages of detailed instructions. They laid out a bizarre scavenger hunt involving multiple stops, riddles, and strict time limits. The final instruction said the bomb would detonate if he failed to complete all the steps. FBI agent then concluded that even Brian had followed all the steps, the timeline was nearly impossible. It was a death threat from the start. At first, every single one, public and media, believed Brian was a hostage. Brian was just a victim that forced into a robbery. But over time, the investigation revealed a tangled web of conspirators. One major lead emerged from a man named William Rothstein, who had called the police on September 20 to report a dead body. The victim here was James Roden, who was stored in the freezer in Rothstein's garage. The murder of James Roden is his ex-girlfriend. Armstrong told Rothstein that he shot her boyfriend, James Roden, in a dispute over money with a Remington 12-bore shotgun, and she needed help to remove the body and to clean the scene. This is not the first time Armstrong killed one of her boyfriends. In 1984, she shot and killed Robert Thomas. She claimed it was self-defense. The court acquitted her. Rothstein also told the police that he melted the shotgun and threw it around Erie in pieces. Rothstein then explained to the police that he was suffering for weeks. Investigators later found a suicide note by his desk. In that note, he said that he did not kill Jim Roden nor participated in his death. On September 21, the next day after Rothstein called the police, Armstrong was taken into custody. Armstrong actually told the police the reason why she shot James Roden was that her father squandered her $1 million inheritance and she needed money to pay a hitman to kill him before all the money was gone. Armstrong then killed Roden when he threatened to tell police about the whole thing. It seems like the case had nothing to do with the mystery collar bombing case. However, at this point of time, the investigators for collar bombing case were busy finding any clue about their case until they got a phone call from a state police officer who had just met Armstrong about an unrelated homicide. Armstrong told the state police that Rothstein's suicide note was a lie. Armstrong has said that the Roden's murder had everything to do with the collar bomb plot. After a bunch of interviews, Armstrong keeps saying she had nothing to do with the bomb plot. But then she started to admit things. She even admitted that she was the one who gave them the kitchen timer used in the bomb. But here's the plot twist. She claimed that Brian Wells, the pizza delivery guy who died, wasn't just some random victim. She said that Brian Wells was in on it too. And Armstrong told investigators that Rothstein was actually the mastermind behind the whole thing. However, at this point, the police think Armstrong is the one that is behind the collar bomb case, as she seems to know a lot of the details for the collar bomb case, and the police think she is the mastermind of this case. In late 2005, a few months after Armstrong talked to the police about the case, a new witness came forward and brought another name into this mess. His name is Kenneth Barnes. Barnes was caught for a drug case and he's in the prison. When he's in the prison, he started to bragging about the robbery plan. That's when his own brother-in-law turned him in. When police confronted him in 2008, Barnes did what a lot of people do when they're facing more jail time. He tried to cut the deal with the police. He promised to tell them everything about the crime in exchange for a lighter sentence. Barnes ended up confirming what the feds had started to believe. Armstrong was actually the mastermind behind the whole color bomb plot. That Armstrong didn't just want the money for fun, she needed the money to pay Barnes to kill her own father. Barnes also said Brian Wells' death was part of the plan. The bombing expert from FBI, they said the color bomb wasn't some homemade joke. It was extremely detailed and complex. This wasn't a way out for Brian Wells. This was a trap. On 28 February 2011, Armstrong received a life in prison plus 30 years consecutive to her state sentence for killing James Roden, her ex-boyfriend. As for Kenneth Barnes, he was sentenced to 45 years in prison for his role in the Brian Wells collar bomb case. As for Rothstein, he was identified by the investigator as the man who engineered the bomb, wrote the scavenger hunt instruction, and facilitated the plan's execution. However, he consistently denied involvement in the collar bomb plot. However, Rothstein died of cancer on July 30, 2004 before charges could be filed. He was named an unindicted co-conspirator. Brian Wells' pizza bomber case remains one of the strangest and the most tragic crime scene in recent American history. What do you think? Do you think Brian Wells was a victim or he was part of this conspiracy?